From child star to 90s sitcom icon to grown-up talk show host and mother of three, Sara Gilbert's life has been full but never easy. But hope is central to her persona, and despite all the hardship she's endured, she remains a perennial optimist. Born in Santa Monica, California, Sara Gilbert was surrounded by creatives as a child. The granddaughter of Harry Crane, who created hit sitcom The Honeymooners, and sister of Little House on the Prairie star Melissa Gilbert, the youngster knew at an early age that she wanted to join the family business. She struggled with school, explaining to Entertainment Weekly, "Honestly, I didn't really love being in regular school, so anything that put me in a more creative environment was a plus."
Did they call off school yet? Not yet. Oh, please let school be closed. Please, I don't want to do this book report.
When Gilbert was 5 years old, she was cast in a Kool-Aid commercial, and she was on her way. On an episode of The Talk, she credited acting with saving her life, saying, "I was so miserable in school and having that life. The creative outlet kind of saved my life in ways, but I think it still comes with its downsides, even in the best set of circumstances."
I was going to be a doctor, pediatric surgeon, but, I just started getting more and more into acting.
As her acting career flourished, she was able to stop attending regular school and received one-on-one tutoring, something Gilbert admitted was a dream come true. At the tender age of 13, Sara Gilbert was catapulted to stardom after landing the role of Darlene on Roseanne in 1988. Though she was elated with her newfound success, fame came at an odd time for Gilbert. Unlike most child actors, who tend to find fame in their formative years, Gilbert became a star right as she entered her teens.
I was a very young, awkward person. It's hard to have your teenage years in front of everybody.
While fame itself wasn't strange to the kid who'd grown up around the industry, juggling the everyday struggles of being a teenager with stardom was sometimes daunting. In an interview with Deadline, she said, "The only weird thing about being a famous teenager was that it's a really strong juxtaposition between the adoration and attention and the normal feelings of loneliness and isolation that can come with being a teenager." In 1993, she enrolled at Yale, which came with a new set of challenges.
To whom it concerns, Darlene's work will be late. It fell on her pancakes and stuck to her plate.
Gilbert had to fly to Los Angeles on Thursdays to film Roseanne, then take a red-eye back to New York on Sunday, followed by a train to Connecticut. While filming Roseanne, Gilbert dated Johnny Galecki, who played her on-screen boyfriend David. However, during a 2013 episode of The Talk, she confessed that things never quite clicked between them.
"Listen, if this Barry guy tries to hold you too close, just tell him you gotta throw up."
Oh, I thought I'd save that for when he wants to have sex.
Eventually, she realized she was gay, but she felt pressure to keep her sexuality a secret, explaining, "I just felt so scared if it came out, what could happen? Could I lose my career? Would I ever be able to play a straight role again?" In 2010, Sara officially came out. The news wasn't a surprise to her sister, Melissa Gilbert, who revealed on The Talk that she always knew Sara was gay, but she wanted her little sister to figure it out for herself. Now that she's a mom, Gilbert has spoken about the importance of talking to her children about homophobia. I remember one of them when I was engaged coming to me and saying you can't really get married, because when we first got engaged, it wasn't legal." She went on to explain, "I think if you don't take those moments to take it further, you are doing your kids a disservice, because in their minds, something's wrong." For a decade, Gilbert was in a long-term relationship with television writer Ali Adler, with whom she has 2 children. But in 2011, the couple called it quits. On an episode of The Talk that aired shortly after the breakup, Gilbert was tearful while discussing the end of her relationship, saying, "I feel like I don't know if marriage is all it's cracked up to be. I've never been married, but I was in a long relationship. It's emotional for me, because we're not together. You see people in their 70s and you wonder, how do they do it? How do they make it last? And I would like to think that I can." Although reps initially claimed that the split was amicable, Adler reportedly felt deeply betrayed when Gilbert wed Linda Perry in 2014. In an interview with Radar, one insider claimed that Gilbert left Adler for Perry, leaving her ex blindsided. The insider shared, "When Sara and Linda got engaged last year, it was like the final dagger for Allison. Things might not have been roses and rainbows, but Allison would have liked to have worked on her relationship with Sara instead of just giving up." The original run of Roseanne starred Irish actor Glenn Quinn as Mark, the leather jacket-clad boyfriend of Darlene's older sister Becky. In 2002, Quinn died at the age of just 32. He had struggled with substance abuse for many years. Though he was reportedly sober while filming Roseanne, things took a turn when the series ended in 1997, and he moved on to the Buffy the Vampire Slayer spin-off, Angel. His sister told the Irish Independent, "It was at this time that Glenn's struggles took over. We as a family were very supportive in helping him. Though there were periods of sobriety, ultimately it consumed him."
I would have chosen the pleasures of the flesh over duty and honor any day of the week. I just don't have that strength.
When Roseanne was rebooted in 2018, Sara Gilbert paid tribute to her late co-star in a bittersweet way. On an episode of The Talk, she shared that she and Galecki texted each other as they tried to think of a name for their on-screen son, explaining, "I thought I had to reach out to Johnny Galecki because this is our kid together. So I texted him, 'What do you think we named our baby boy?' And then I said, 'Oh, maybe Mark,' because Mark was played by Glenn Quinn, who was Galecki's brother on the show who passed away. Galecki agreed that Mark was the perfect name for his and Darlene's fictional child. Sharing a screenshot of the poignant conversation on Instagram, Gilbert concluded her post with the hashtag named for Glenn Quinn. Over the years, Roseanne Barr has engaged in problematic behavior. Though once a liberal darling who toured with Michael Moore, Barr's politics gradually shifted to the right, and she became a vocal Donald Trump supporter and anti-woke crusader. Eventually, her views spelled her undoing.
Weren't you a friend of, like a good friend of Hillary Clinton's at one point?
Yeah!
In 2018, just as fans were looking forward to the second season of the Roseanne reboot, Barr uploaded an X post in which she compared Barack Obama aide Valerie Jarrett to a Planet of the Apes character and claimed she supported the Muslim Brotherhood that was widely condemned as racist and Islamophobic. Although Barr attempted to apologize for her remarks, even those within her closest circle couldn't explain away her undeniably offensive language.
"What's up, deplorable?"
Gilbert expressed her disappointment on X, effectively distancing herself from her contentious co-star, writing, "Roseanne's recent comments about Valerie Jarrett and so much more are abhorrent. I am disappointed in her actions, to say the least." Barr was let go, and the show was reborn as The Connors. Speaking to the Washington Post in 2019, Barr accused Gilbert of ruining her life, saying, "She destroyed the show and my life with that tweet. She will never get enough until she consumes my liver with a fine Chianti."
Sara Gilbert has emerged as the star of The Connors, and I think that probably is upsetting to Roseanne.
In 2019, Sara Gilbert announced that she was leaving The Talk after 9 years as co-host. She credited her decision with being overworked, having filmed The Connors while also hosting The Talk, which kept her away from her family. Gilbert admitted that her life had been out of balance, explaining, "I wasn't, able to spend as much time with my 3 kids as I'd like, or time for myself."
I don't really like talking, is the truth.
In her interview with Deadline, she acknowledged that, though leaving was an incredibly difficult decision, it was the right one for the sake of her kids, saying, "I know I need to act more, and I know I need to produce, and I know I need to see my kids. I've had the opportunity to do the talk show for 9 years. It felt like, okay, now it's time to focus on these other things."
Show business just kind of sucks you in, So I think I'll be a star.
Speaking to Variety, she also admitted that the pressure to be so open about her personal life proved a struggle. An intensely private person, Gilbert conceded that she was relieved she would no longer have to discuss her everyday life on national TV, saying, "I'm okay with letting that piece of it go." There was sad news for Sara Gilbert and Linda Perry when Gilbert filed for separation in 2019. Following an elaborate proposal from Perry, which included picnickers breaking into a string rendition of a Cure song and t-shirts with "Will You Marry Me" written on them, the two got engaged in 2013. At the time, Gilbert was overjoyed, explaining on The Talk that there was no doubt in her mind that she wanted to tie the knot with her girlfriend. She shared, "So I think that's it, and it's the most amazing proposal ever." The following year, the women married in a romantic ceremony in Malibu. Speaking about marriage on The Talk, Gilbert said, "You feel safer in a way, and you feel like you've really committed, and it's not about, can I deal with this or not deal with it? It becomes, how will we deal with our relationship together?" But after 5 years of marriage, Gilbert filed for separation, citing irreconcilable differences. In 2021, the couple, who welcomed a son 6 years earlier, finalized their divorce. Speaking with Page Six, Perry said, "You have to look at life as life, and things happen. I'm still on an incredible adventure with Sara. I love her. I adore her." Ever the contrarian, Sharon Osbourne is no stranger to drama, from supporting Brexit despite living in the US to questioning Meghan Markle's identity as a Black woman. But during their time on The Talk, Osbourne and Gilbert appeared incredibly close, so much so that when the latter announced her departure, Osbourne was in tears, saying, "While my husband's been sick, Sarah's just gone out of her way to find him little things that she knows he'll like and buy for him. And he considers her a friend too."
It's like a sister. She's like a sister that I never had.
But despite their apparent camaraderie, behind closed doors, Osbourne allegedly made some highly problematic remarks about Gilbert. According to several sources who spoke to Yashar Ali of The Reset in 2021, Osbourne frequently made racist remarks about co-host Julie Chen Moonves and homophobic comments about Gilbert. Former The Talk co-host Leah Remini, who was among the sources, claimed that Osbourne used highly crude, misogynistic, and racist language when referring to Gilbert's refusal both to side with Osbourne in her feud with Chen Moonves. In an interview with the Daily Mail, Osbourne denied the allegations while repeating the racial slur she had allegedly used against Chen Moonves. She soon left the show in the wake of multiple claims of workplace misconduct. Gilbert did not respond to the allegations.